Funding for today's classic homes has been made possible by the following corporations.
This program is made possible by Pella, makers of classic windows and patio doors, bringing you style and innovation since 1925.
And by your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. With paint, stain, wallpaper, and decorating ideas, Sherwin-Williams can help you create all the looks you've imagined.
And by DuPont Corian, used in commercial and residential applications worldwide, including new applications like furniture, lighting, and architectural details. Corian, looking beyond the surface for ways to express your design and performance needs.
Made possible by Hartco Quality Wood Flooring Company, makers of Pattern Plus 5000 and other sliced-cut hardwood flooring products.
Hi, I'm Mitchell McDaniel, and welcome to today's Classic Homes. As a builder, I've been fascinated with architecture for more than 20 years. But you don't have to be a builder, an architect, or even a designer to appreciate the rich architectural history that can be found on virtually any street corner in America. Today's Classic Homes is a program that celebrates that rich history. And this season, we'll be exploring the style known as the Beaux-Arts, which is French for fine art, a style that flourished here in the Americas at the turn of the century. It was at the close of the Gilded Age and on into the Roaring '20s that rich industrialists were eager to showcase their taste, their wealth, and their culture in a true European style. And this ornate Beaux-Arts style with its classically inspired details perfectly reflected that image. It was an age of lavish lifestyle and luxurious parties attended by names like Carnegie and Vanderbilt, but for us, the real story begins inside. Well, today, party's over. Along came income taxes, followed by the Great Depression, and then the plain old cost of living made it very difficult to maintain homes like this. But fortunately for us today, new product development, innovative technologies not only help us to preserve, but also restore classic homes like this one here in Jacksonville, Florida. And that's exactly what we're going to be doing over the next 13 weeks here on today's Classic Homes. You'll meet our team of architects, interior designers, decorators, and true craftsmen who are going to work together to bring this Beaux-Arts style home into the 21st century. In addition, we'll travel across the country and give you a first-hand tour of some of America's most famous Beaux-Arts style homes and buildings designed by some of the most influential architects of that day. On today's program, we're going to take you to a fair, the Chicago World's Fair of 1893. Everybody loves a fair. This one just happened to be the birthplace of the Beaux-Arts style of architecture here in America. Back in Jacksonville, we'll take a tour of the Harlow House and look at the job at hand with our interior designer. But first, just who built this magnificent home all those years ago? Well, we'll show you when we return. This is Atlantic Beach, just outside Jacksonville in northeast Florida. And this particular stretch of beach has remained virtually unchanged in the past 100 years, when the Beaux-Arts style was in its heyday, being built in places like Washington, New York, Boston, and Newport. But it was a different story a little south of here. A railroad was being pushed into Florida by the legendary Henry Flagler. And soon, this tropical paradise would be open to all. In Jacksonville, and these beaches would soon become the playground for the rich and famous. As early as 1870, Jacksonville was billed as a winter city in a summer land, and more than 100,000 tourists a year were stopping to enjoy the mild climate and the luxurious hotels and resorts. They came by steamship and schooner, by train and horse, to stay at places like the elegant St. James Hotel in downtown Jacksonville or the majestic Murray Hill Resort at what today is known as Jacksonville Beach. By 1899, railroad tycoon Henry Flagler had extended the railway north of Jacksonville Beach. To attract tourists to the newly accessible beachfront, Flagler built the Continental Hotel, an enormous luxury resort that marked the beginning of the new city of Atlantic Beach. The Continental catered to the upscale clientele that were made famous in the Gilded Age and featured an oceanfront pier, a 9-hole golf course, and even railroad spurs where families like the Vanderbilts and Whitneys could park their private railway cars. Ironically, as Atlantic Beach was being created, downtown Jacksonville suffered the worst disaster in the city's history. The Jacksonville Fire of 1901 leveled more than 125 city blocks of downtown Jacksonville and left nearly 9,000 people homeless. As devastating as it was, the fire had paved the way for a new Jacksonville. By 1911, Jacksonville had been rebuilt into one of the most modern cities in the American South. It was during this time that a young lawyer, William Harlow Rogers, moved to the fast-growing city. In the following years, Rogers became one of Jacksonville's most important city leaders, working with the Chamber of Commerce and serving as president of both the Jacksonville Bar Association and the Florida Title and Guarantee Company. He contacted Jacksonville architect Bernard Close to design a new summer home for his property on Atlantic Beach. This original drawing shows one of the architect's early proposals, a 2-story Spanish eclectic that was popular in Florida at that time. Ultimately, of course, the Rogers chose the more stately Beaux-Arts style of architecture for their home, which Mrs. Rogers named the Harlow House, after her husband's family name. What's most interesting is that the house was constructed at the end of the Depression in a style that was no longer fashionable. Clearly, the Rogers were making a statement in this small southern community, not unlike the northern industrialists had done so in the Gilded Age. And nothing better expressed that brand of wealth than the Beaux-Arts style of architecture. The Elms in Newport, Rhode Island. Laurel Court in Cincinnati, Ohio. The Vanderbilt Mansion in Hyde Park, New York. These homes stand today as monuments to a bygone age, an age before income taxes, where industrial barons were eager to display their wealth in huge and grandiose mansions, all built in the classically inspired Beaux-Arts style. Although architectural historians may argue about the exact definition of the Beaux-Arts style, what is certain is that the name comes from France's École des Beaux-Arts, the most prestigious school of architecture in the 19th century. Many American architects studied there, bringing back the school's belief that all structural design should spring from the classical rules established by ancient Greek, Roman, and Renaissance architecture. So, the Beaux-Arts style is a mix of these ancient styles and is marked by its symmetry, ornamentation, and stone finishes. The symmetry of the style is clearly visible in this aerial view of our house in Jacksonville, taken shortly after its completion in 1938. The Harlow House is horizontal in design, with 13,000 square feet of living space under its slate roof. The exterior walls are of cast concrete, dry pressed to simulate limestone. This was new technology at the time. The coining is also common to the Beaux-Arts style, as is the ornamental bas-relief frieze that runs completely around the house. An exquisite loggia on the north end draws your attention immediately, with its distinctive rope-like columns and built-in fountain, which we'll be restoring later. Over the years, water has damaged some of the stonework around the loggia, and we'll be showing you how we repair it in a future program. Another project we'll be showing you is the construction of a new conservatory. Initially, we had to cut our way through the overgrowth just to get in, but as it was cleared out, we discovered an unusual grotto. On the eastern facade, the Harlow House features a portico with Ionic columns and, of course, an exceptional view of the Atlantic Ocean. As a builder, if you're like me, you come onto a project like this, you're always looking for those problem areas because it's usually those unforeseen conditions that'll come back and haunt you later on in the project. Fortunately, we were able to come in here and do a little preliminary and a little investigating work, and we found that the basic structure is very sound. I mean, after all, they built these houses to last for generations. But what was more surprising is what awaited us inside. We found that all the original period furnishings were purchased along with the house. So later on this season, we'll show you what we found and some of the restoration work on these wonderful pieces. But now, let's take a look at the Beaux-Arts style of architecture, how it gained its recognition and its prominence here in America, and how it still influences the way we design and build homes today. It's a fascinating story, and it takes place in a city about 1,000 miles north of here. The year is 1891. The place is Chicago, Illinois. Workers began clearing more than 700 acres of swampland on Chicago's south side for the upcoming World's Fair. The fair had been proposed by Congress to celebrate the 400th anniversary of the discovery of the New World by Christopher Columbus. Chicago had won the first battle. They had outpositioned the more established eastern cities to host the fair. Now came the formidable task of building it.
There was an idea that this would represent the ultimate in achievement of where the Americas had gone since the landing of Columbus, and to really represent the idea of civilization and human achievement. And the question is how to go about that.
The job of organizing the fair fell to Chicago architect Daniel Burnham. Although never formally trained in architecture, Burnham had gained a reputation as a man of great vision, a man that could get things done. He assembled a team of the most prominent architects of the day, many of whom had studied at the prestigious École des Beaux-Arts in Paris.
Not only were many of the most prominent architects assembled for the World's Fair, but also artists and sculptors to work on the various aspects of the fair. And it was once remarked that the gathering of artists, artisans, and architects was one of the greatest meetings of creative minds since the Renaissance.
To speed up construction, it was decided that the building's facades would be fashioned from staff, a combination of plaster, cement, and fiber. It was lightweight, easier to work with than stone, and could be cast or sculpted into a variety of shapes and ornaments. In less than 2 years, construction was complete and thousands flocked to the site for opening day ceremonies. What they saw was a breathtaking series of architectural masterworks. At its center was what came to be known as the White City. 7 monumental buildings designed in the Beaux-Arts style, carefully arranged around a central lagoon. At one end of the lagoon, a towering 65-foot sculpture of Liberty. At the other end, a tremendous sculptural fountain honoring Columbus.
William James, who was teaching down at the University of Chicago at the day, said that the fair was esteemed as such a revelation of beauty that men lost all baseness and cast away all sin and grew religious under its spell. The power of this vision that Burnham and his group had set out became a vision that would extend into American cities all over the country.
Among the many first established at the fair was the concept of the Midway. Here, fairgoers could see a variety of sideshows, like the notorious Little Egypt doing her hoochie coochie dance. Another first was this huge observation wheel designed by engineer George Ferris. Unlike its modern-day counterparts, the first Ferris wheel rose as high as a 26-story building and had cars that could seat 60 people. It was another innovation, however, that truly electrified the crowds.
This was really one of the first major displays of electric light. In fact, just to lamp the fair, it took 3 times the power that it took to power the whole city of Chicago at that time. And that the fair would just be ablaze with electric light bulbs at night and great spotlights.
When it was over, it was reported that more than 27 million people visited the Columbian Exposition of 1893. Within 3 years, all of the buildings of the White City had been destroyed by fire. The remaining buildings were demolished, all except one building at the north end of the fairgrounds.
We're standing in front of what was the Fine Arts Building. It's now the Museum of Science and Industry in Chicago.
I understand this was the only building left from the exposition.
It's the only one surviving, and it's not surviving in the condition that it was in 1893. It was lath and plaster. It was all white. And in 1929, they decided to convert it to limestone and preserve it. All of the ornamentation is replicated in limestone from the original plasterwork.
It's a fantastic building. I mean, it gives you the idea of the size of the complex, over 600 and some odd acres, and this building is immense.
And this was one of the small ones.
Is that right?
The sculpture and all of the architecture, as you see, is a whole mix of the world's traditions of architecture, the Roman, the Greek, the Renaissance. It all gets put together in here, and you see on the exterior of this building what the Beaux-Arts tradition is all about. This is one of those great sources that for the next 30 years has an enormous impact on American architecture.
The fair buildings in their grand Beaux-Arts style became a symbol for the achievement of America itself.
And it was our way of saying that whether we built outhouses in this style, whether we built grand plantation style homes in the Beaux-Arts style, or whatever it was, we were asserting ourselves on the world stage. We are now a nation among nations.
And so all over the country, public buildings, courthouses, libraries, private houses, business buildings would be created in imitation or reflecting the grand Beaux-Arts style.
The powerful vision of the builders of the 1893 exposition lives on in homes and buildings across America, including our home back in Jacksonville. Let's take a tour inside Harlow House with our interior decorator Mandy Culpepper and look at the work ahead.
Well, Mandy, I really like the entryway. It's so typical of the Beaux-Arts style, from a very small opening, graduates into a larger one in this area, and of course, then the wings at each side of the foyer. So here, really, this is going to be our focal point. So what have you got in plan for us here?
We would definitely like to replace the vinyl flooring with marble.
You don't like our great vinyl?
I think it was appropriate back in the 20s and 30s, but now we'd like to put the real hard surface in.
Okay, well, there's new technology at that point. And so is this. I mean, we even have cast-in-place concrete that had stain in it, but we've removed that. Is that going to work for you?
Right. We'll just accentuate this color on into the floor and then take advantage of the beautiful millwork and tone these colors out with paints.
And we can work with our chandelier, and we got a great Palladian window to play
Right.
off of.
Hopefully paint a soft color in here at night so it'll just sparkle.
Well, what about our powder room? Can we create a little jewel box effect in here?
Right. I'd like to wallpaper the ceiling, the walls, everything with a really pretty patterned wall covering.
Gold and reds, that'll look nice.
Right. And look at this fabulous door.
That's very European, isn't it? That's great.
Isn't that great?
Well, I really like the living room. It's one of the larger rooms in the house.
Exactly. It's beautiful with all the millwork.
Well, they used a variety of woods in here. We got some mahogany and some great cypress, wonderful carved details on these cabinets.
Detail's beautiful.
And over the doors, and exceptional detail around the cornice system around this window. It sort of captures and frames the whole ocean view.
It is magnificent, isn't it? And the ceiling is wonderful. You've had to do some work, I know, and also you're going to drywall the ceiling and apply some molding and add some more relief to it.
Yeah, we are. Something in Louis XIV, Louis
Right.
XV.
Right.
But we have a lot of light in this room, so what are we going to be able to do to control that light in these large openings?
Well, we're going to replace these blinds with a more current version. You still have to do that being at the beach. And we'd also like to do a soft drapery treatment using some of these lovely fabrics and also use that on the upholstery. And again, we'd like to replace the vinyl floor with pre-finished hardwood, something that will be very durable.
That will hold up well
Exactly.
here at the beach?
Yes, and it will also lighten this room and make it warmer.
Okay. Now, I understand going into the music room, one of your favorite rooms?
I love the music room with the mural. This hand-painted scenic really sets the tone for the entire room. It's very Beaux-Arts. It could be a Zuber or a Gracie and Sons.
Is that right? It's great details.
The
I like
bigger, the
color.
better. The color is beautiful for certainly a beach-type setting. Some of these lovely fabrics will certainly mirror that beautiful scenic, and we'd like to reupholster everything in this room with some of these lovely fabrics. And again, the floor needs to be replaced in here, so we've selected this porcelain tile, which I think will be very durable.
And to hold up under the piano and the other furnishings?
Exactly, and we'll overlay a rug, and the window blinds in here will be restored, I understand.
Well, yeah, they're all wood, so they're worth salvaging.
Right. We'll put a decorative tape on them to accent that.
But no draperies on the windows.
No, not in this room, because you have windows all around. I think you said there are 102 windows
We
in the
got
whole
102
house.
windows in this house, and that's something that concerns us because we don't have any air conditioning here.
Right.
And the windows, we have a lot of failure in the windows. The glass doesn't give us a comfort level for the homeowners. So we're really considering replacing all the windows with some new insulated windows as well to create that comfort level, because we are bringing some new air conditioning system into the home. And but with 102 of them, you know, that's
a
something
lot
that
of
we-
windows.
Yeah, it is quite a lot of windows. Of course, at the other end of the house, off the foyer, we have this great banquet-sized dining room.
It's beautiful.
You just don't see rooms this size anymore.
No.
And the great detailing we have there, mahogany panels, mahogany fluted casing, great cornice system. I think that all we'll have to do here is maybe clean it up a little bit, apply a new finish.
Right, we're going to put the new floor in here like the living
Okay,
room.
new wood floor. We've got a great dining room table.
Yes, it's a banquet-sized dining room table, and we're going to reupholster the chairs and replace the draperies because these are dry rotted.
Oh, they are, and they're original to the house?
I think so, and with no climate control and no air conditioning, there was no way to control that, so hopefully now we can.
Well, we're going to make sure that doesn't happen again.
Good.
I like this area too. We got double doors that lead out to the loggia,
Yes.
nice view of the pool.
It's beautiful.
I think one of the biggest challenges, though, that we're faced with is the kitchen.
Oh, the kitchen is a mess.
Well, one of the details that I like is this old ladder along this wall.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah, it is. I really like that. Of course, we can keep that in here, right?
Right, I think so, and the cabinets need to be addressed, either repainting or refinishing them, perhaps, or we could look at replacing them.
Well, you know, kitchens at this time were very, very small. It's really not a large kitchen, but
Right.
very utilitarian in form.
Right.
But of course, the way homeowners live today, it's going to change all that.
Exactly. People today spend a lot more time in their kitchens. The appliances have absolutely had it.
Yeah, they're certainly past their prime.
The rust got to them.
And what about the walls then? What are we going to do? Use
I'd
some
like
paper?
to find some fabulous wall covering like this that's a tile mosaic that has fish and sea motif on it to
Great
bring
theme.
the
Yeah.
ocean out.
Great view right here out
Yeah,
to the ocean.
exactly.
I think that'll work well. And of course, our lighting, we need to do something with that as well.
Definitely. Maybe drop some pendants in, do a pretty paint color on the ceiling.
Great. I'm all for that. Well, Mandy, up on the third floor, we have all the bedrooms.
Right.
There's just 4 of them up here, though.
Right. This is the North Master Suite, and it's lovely. 2 double beds, a sitting area, and its own private bath.
We're not going to have to do too much. Refinish the walls.
Right.
Refinish the floor. It's in good shape.
Right. New draperies, perhaps, and bed linens.
A lot of windows.
A lot of windows.
Does
up
have a
here.
nice bathroom, though.
Right. The bath needs a little work.
But we will keep the fixtures. They're in great shape.
Yeah, the sink is fabulous. I think we just need a new floor and some new paint in this room.
Good. And then our study, great knotty pine.
Oh,
What do you
it's
think of this room?
wonderful. It's fabulous. It's very masculine, very gutsy.
Won't take a lot to refinish this.
No, I don't think so. We just need to work on the floors in here. They're a random plank, pegged floor. You just need to clean up this whole room, I think.
Yeah, won't take much work at all. Now,
No,
let's take a look at the rest
it's
of the
great.
house. You got to do a lot of walking in this house, don't
Yes,
you?
this is a very big house, but it's lovely.
Well, now we're going into the south wing of the house.
This is going to be the master suite.
Another one.
Has a beautiful ocean view.
That's magnificent.
It's wonderful. And then this lovely balcony on this side.
Yeah, great view of the pool area
Right,
out here.
right
I like
into the
this. We got a
grounds.
lot of windows all the way around. It really brings the outdoors inside.
It's beautiful. You really feel like you're on the beach.
Yeah, you certainly do. Now, we also have one of the bathrooms here that we're going to be completely redoing, right?
Right, this bathroom really needs to have a lot of work.
And one of the main reasons for redesigning this is that we don't even have a bathtub in here.
Right, it'd be perfect for a corner tub in this spot so you have a great ocean view.
Oh, it would. And then all we're going to do is just enlarge by opening up this wall.
Right, picking up some closets and a study on the other side for
Oh,
the
a nice little
master.
setting area for them.
Be great for this master.
Yeah, it's a great idea. Well, it's sort of come full circle back into the foyer again. This is going to be a great project, isn't it?
It's fabulous. What a great challenge because we have to bring all these rooms up to today's standards.
Well, not just up to today's standards, but think about all the other things we have to do besides what we've already mentioned. We've got all the furniture restoration,
Right,
the electrical, the HVAC,
right.
roofing, and then all this decorating work.
That's right.
I'm glad you're going to be here with us.
I'm looking forward to it.
By now you have a good idea of some of the challenges that we're faced with on this next season as we bring this Beaux-Arts style mansion into the 21st century. On our next show, our work begins. It's up to the roof as we show you the tools and techniques we use to repair our original slate roof and show you how a roof does more than just keep you dry. We'll also be taking a personal tour of one of the grandest Beaux-Arts mansions in Ohio, Cincinnati's Laurel Court. Inside or out, this is one home you need to see to believe. Until then, I'm Mitchell McDaniel for for today's classic homes.
Once a sleepy New England port, it would become the centerpiece of America's Gilded Age. Discover the mansions of Newport, Rhode Island, later this season on today's Classic Homes.
Funding for today's classic homes has been made possible by the following corporations.
This program is made possible by Pella, makers of classic windows and patio doors, bringing you style and innovation since 1925.
And by your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store. With paint, stain, wallpaper, and decorating ideas, Sherwin-Williams can help you create all the looks you've imagined.
And by DuPont Corian, used in commercial and residential applications worldwide, including new applications like furniture, lighting, and architectural details. Corian, looking beyond the surface for ways to express your design and performance needs.
Made possible by Hartco Quality Wood Flooring Company, makers of Pattern Plus 5000 and other sliced cut hardwood flooring products.
To order a copy of this program, please call 1-800-256-4408 or send $19.95 plus $4 shipping and handling to the address on your screen. Please specify episode number 201 when ordering.
This is PBS.
Funding for today's classic homes has been made possible by the following corporations.
This program is made possible by Pella, makers of classic windows and patio doors, bringing you style and innovation since 1925.
And by your neighborhood Sherwin-Williams store.